I recently released a few models that require Waterslide Decal applications, and even though I've got some instruction on how to use the Waterslide Decal papers in previous videos, I thought I'd give a little refresher course on this. What I have here are inkjet papers. I've got a white and a clear. You can find these on Amazon, and there's a lot of different makes. I've been using this for the last year. They work great. The Hayes paper. They also make these, I'm not sure Hayes does, but you can find these easily in LaserJet paper. So make sure that you're getting the right kind of paper, inkjet versus LaserJet. And make sure you're getting the right white or clear for your needs. For this project, clear works great. If you're putting Waterslide decals that have white markings, you probably want to use the white paper. This video will be showing you Microset, if I can get that to focus, Microset, Microsol, and a Rust-Oleum matte clear. Alright, so let's go ahead and print out some decals. You can use a variety of programs to pull up your artwork, and it can come in a variety of formats. What I have pulled up here now is the decal sheet for the batteries not included Weems you just now saw on the bench. And I just need one of these. So I'm just going to stick it here in the corner. I'm going to show you that you can use this one decal sheet over and over and over again. I'm just going to drag it over here to this corner. That'll work, and we're just going to print this out. Make sure that you're loading the paper correctly into your printer. There's a glossy side. This is easy to tell because there's print on the back side. Sometimes these papers don't have any kind of print, but there'll be a matte side and a glossy side. It's hard to catch that. But load that glossy side so that it's going to print that side up. Okay, here is our decal sheet. Our artwork is printed very nicely on the glossy side. Let's cut this out and I'll show you how to process this. Okay, we're going to cut this corner off. And we can use the rest of this sheet on future projects. What we need to do first is seal this decal. That's where I'm using the matte clear Rust-Oleum. Any brand name matte clear will work. Now the trick is, you don't want to put it on too thick. I am a good 1.5 feet away from that decal. I'm making sure that this is really, really mixed very well. And we're going to put on one light coat. That's it. I'm going to repeat that 2 more times. That's how I like to do it. I like to put on 3 very light coats. Really unnoticeable on there. We're going to do that 3 times. Let those cure about maybe 10-15 minutes between coats. We have our tools laid out, scissors, a tray of water, Microsol, Microset, I'll show you both of those. We have a hobby brush, an X-Acto knife, and a couple cotton buds. And we are going to take this sample decal. This is one of my scrap pieces. And I'm going to cut these individual parts out. And we are going to cut these out as close to the edges as we can. So I'll work on this round guy here. You can use an X-Acto blade for this. You can get it really super close. I'm not going to worry about getting it exact super close, but I am going to get reasonably close. Okay, so here's that guy, and I'll cut a couple more of these out and get this red piece here. This one isn't really a decal, but it'll demonstrate applying a color decal. Okay, so we have those two, and I'll just go ahead and cut the rest of these guys out. Always do your test fitting before you dunk these in water. Yep, that's a pretty good fit. Just take a tiny bit more off of this edge. Alright, something like that. And we're just going to experiment getting him laid on here like this. Room temperature water is good enough, and we're going to start with this guy here, and we're going to just put it on a nice flat piece, keep this easy. Dunk it in that water. Depending on your paper, this can be in here from anywhere from 15 seconds to a minute. This particular paper likes about 30 seconds, so that'll start to separate, and we're going to take him out in 30 seconds. While that is softening up, I'm going to use this Microset. Microset is great for applying decals onto flat surfaces. So I'm going to dip this brush, saturate it really well, and figure out where this is going to go. Let's just say this is going to go here on this bottom edge. I'm going to wet down that surface with that Microset. Alright, nice and prepped. We're going to grab our decal. It's been plenty of time. Okay, so I see my wet spot there. I'm just going to drag this guy right onto that pre-prepped Microset. Going to grab this cotton bud, and I'm going to roll it on this surface. Get rid of all that excess moisture. You've got some work time with these, so if I didn't like its position, I can grab this X-Acto blade and kind of move it around. And once I'm really liking its position, make sure there's no bubbles on there. I'm going to grab this Microset again one more time. I'm going to brush the top of that surface. That is going to lock down that decal. Alright, and then you just let that dry. Oops. But there is our first application, and I'll go ahead and do a couple more of these other ones. And with practice, you can do several of these all at once. I'm going to do 3 of these guys all at one time. Just let those dissolve in there for 30 seconds. You can also wick away some of this moisture with a paper towel before the application. Alright, and there is an example of putting decals onto a flat surface. We're still not done with this yet. I want to show you one more thing. Microsol is a much more aggressive solvent, so it is really good for wrapping around textures, bending it to a curve. So I am going to show you that right here. Wick away a little bit of that moisture. Alright, Microsol. Same deal. We're going to put this on this curvy piece. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but this has a lip. A little more challenging when you're dealing with lips. So we're going to saturate that down. Put our decal on, and we're going to make it wrap over this step. Your decal is going to want to stay flat. We need to teach it that it's going to curve across this lip. So very patiently, we're going to wait until this decal starts to get soft. Then we're going to keep pushing it into that curve. I'm actually going to take a little bit more of this water off. And you can use this cotton bud also to train that decal that we want it to wrap We're going to wrap the U in this caution decal. A little more of the Microsol. Really get it saturated right there where we want it to bend. And you can already see that this decal is starting to soften up, and it's taking that curve right around that lip. But just keep going, man. You want to watch this, you want to keep pushing it in, bending it until it's not going to move again. Okay, I'm going to call this one done. I'm really liking that bend. Stuck down really hard. I'm going to let that set for a good half hour before we clear coat that. I'm going to do one more decal over here. This is a curve. This is kind of it's a compound curve, so I'm going to use the Microsol since it's a little more aggressive. Going to lay this guy down. Position him just right. Wick away that excess moisture. And then begin sealing it again with the Microsol. This honestly doesn't need the Microsol to get in on this. I could use the Microset. Just always be careful with that Microsol. It's very aggressive, so the more you play with it, once it's reached its saturation point, its softening point, you run the risk of tearing your decal up. Okay, these have been out in the sun for about an hour. All the moisture has evaporated away. This part isn't completely necessary. You could leave these be, but I like to seal them one more time with the clear coat. This is just a Rust-Oleum matte clear coat. From a distance, just give them a quick seal. And that is it. That decal is adhered to that edge really nicely. Okay guys, that is it for this quickie decal tutorial, a little refresher course, because I know a lot of guys are going to be emailing me with questions about how to apply Waterslide decals. There you go. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next tutorial.